So you go to David Moyes and you go, listen, David, forget it, he's out. Or is it a thing that a lot of times it is very last minute? I don't know, because it's so frustrating for us fans. This final training session all the time.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the sort of veil that they put over the injuries drives you crazy. And
it does.
And why do we do it? I'm not going to tell you.
If the game was on a Saturday, by the Thursday, you kind of know that certain players, especially with certain injuries, that's it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, your job as the physician in the club is the safety of the player and the valued asset to be kept safe.
Hi, and welcome along to AFTV. We are back with our favourite doctor. Dr. Andre is in the building. Always a pleasure to have you here from Oxford Natural. And you know what? We're going to do something very special today. We're going to talk about football, but then we're going to go on to talk about prostate cancer, right? And this is an initiative within the football sort of family that's taken really, really seriously. I do a lot of work with Prostate Cancer UK, the charity. I've done a couple of walks where I've walked around the grounds in London to raise money and awareness for the charity. It's a great charity. And, when you go to games, I remember I was at the game at during the week for Arsenal, and as I went into the toilet to have a pee, there right in front of me, they specifically put it in the urinals, is there, talking all about prostate cancer, how you can avoid it, tests, etc. So I want to get into a bit of that with you a little later on, because like how we've got you, we need to squeeze on your expertise. By the way, I am still on the Optimum night, right, which is very good for me, the Optimum Day, which has been working for me as well. Do you want to just remind people about what those do?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know what, everywhere I go, people are asking me.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, people say, well, who should take it? That's a very common thing. I mean, why would you take this supplementation? Well, really anybody who feels a little bit tired, isn't sleeping as well as they'd like to, has gained a few pounds and would like to shift them, maybe struggles with daytime concentration and particularly a fairly below average night's sleep. There's a lot of people, okay? So it's a very good way of using a supplement to rebalance, help your metabolism, deeper sleep, better sugar control. So really, I love everyone to take it because I'm the same as you. The stories we get of people doing well with this supplementation, in helping not just improve these things, but kickstarting thinking about your own health, recovery, what you can do for the next 5 years, 10 years for health. I think it sets the mind as well. And the Optimum night, I think sleep is so crucial. That's when all the healing takes place. We talk about injuries all the time. The number one thing to heal injuries, decent night's sleep. Number one way to avoid dementia, decent night's sleep. So get the Optimum night for that sleep, Optimum day for that control during the day, take them both ideally for 24-hour cover. Okay,
links in the description if you're interested. Dr. Andre, I need to ask you this, It's a source of huge frustration for me and many other Arsenal fans, right? Now, you, of course, used to work as a doctor at a football club. You worked at Everton. You worked at Everton for years. You even did Mikel Arteta's, signing on medical. Mikel Arteta, we love him as a manager, but one thing that really frustrates the life out of me is that he'll be asked at his press conference is about injuries. So at the moment we got Saka, who's been out for quite a while now. Literally every press conference for our Saka, we'll see a few days and see what's going on. Odegaard's out. When's he back? Oh, we've got one more training session and we're going to see what happens. What's happening with this player? What's happening with that player? He never wants to tell us this. Now, is this because the doctors are saying to him, you know what, he could be back? I think, or is this just a smokescreen and he knows? When you was a doctor at Everton, would you know, like, say, 2-3 days before the weekend that, who was the manager at the time when you was there?
So we had David Moyes, before that was Walter Smith.
So you go to David Moyes and you go, listen, David, forget it, he's out. Or is it a thing that a lot of times it is very last minute? I don't know, because it's so frustrating for us fans. This final training session all the time.
Yeah. So what you're saying is this sort of veil that they put over the injuries drives you crazy. And
It does.
And why do we do it? I'm not going to tell you. No, well, I mean, there's more than one reason. One can be just the manager's attitude. You know, they don't like to be wrong. They don't like to be questioned. You said this, and it's this. And they're very sensitive. They like to be seen to be never wrong. So therefore, give vague information, which can't be. You can't come back at him and say, well, you said this, and it's this. Generally, the rule would be that if the game is on Saturday, I say Saturday because back in the day it was always Saturday, and they're not fit by Friday or Thursday, they're not playing. The idea of very, very late fitness tests on Saturday mornings before Saturday games is normally for the birds, really, because...
This is very important. So normally, if the game was on a Saturday, by the Thursday, you kind of know that certain players, especially with certain injuries, that's it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, your job as the physician in the club is the safety of the player and the valued asset to be kept safe. So, and we have to give information so they can plan their team. And we would never say, oh, he's terrible on Thursday, but give it a go. Maybe Saturday. I mean, an angry Scottish manager will kill you for that. He's like, well, I need to know, mate. I've got to plan this team. So you would never, ever use vague terms. So we would say Thursday for the game Saturday, not fit, not 100%, therefore, in our view, not ready. They would then say, well, maybe we can try to thread the needle here and maybe push it a bit later. That's more for the manager's mind. He just dreams of having the player and will sleep better, thinking that there's an opportunity that he might play. But the truth of the matter is that if you haven't made it fit, presentable, taken part in decent training 2 days before the game, it's just playing with chance at that point.
So when he says, like what he said in today's press conference, he said, right, Martin Odegaard, Calafiori, I forget the other player, he goes, I've got one final training session tomorrow and then we'll see. You're saying that he already knows who's out of those three are playing. It could be all three, that they're already fit, or it could be all three that they're injured, or one's fit, but he already knows, but he's just saying that maybe just to throw off the opposition or something like that.
It could be that. It could be he likes to keep them on their toes so they can then have a player suddenly appear. You could do that. It's kind of risky to do that, really, because you lose credibility then. You sort of cry wolf too many times. But think about you, when you run your show and you want to plan who's being interviewed on your show. If I, as the producer, said, oh, we don't know who's coming on Saturday, Robbie, we'll let you know Saturday morning. You're like, well, how can I possibly run a show? I need to prep and be ready. We all need to know who's doing what. One player can...
Ryan does that all the time. No, he doesn't. I'm only joking.
And these are high level, we're meant to be professionals. And we are meant to be... Obviously, as a doctor in the club, you always have to know. The answer can never be, oh, I have no idea, mate. There's a words you can't say. You either say, it's going to be this amount of time, that amount of time, and you have enough give in it, so you protect yourself that way. But you just can't go to somebody and say, oh yeah, I'll let you know Saturday morning if you can play. And the manager go crazy. So it's then, often it's just the manager's dreams of having them. They just, please give me hope. I can't win this game without this person in that position. And we say, okay, well, we'll do one on Saturday morning and we'll do this pointless thing where we get dressed and get ready and run around the field on Saturday morning, knowing it's not going to go anywhere. It's more just that the manager feels a bit happier that way. So it's more placating that way, I would say.
That's not made me feel... Yeah. Well, actually, that's just confirmed to me exactly what I've always thought, that, it's just, like you said, a veil. It's just a veil. Rumour on Saka is it could be an Achilles injury.
Okay. Yeah.
They're not good, are they, Achilles injuries?
So a minor strain, as in like an overuse. So there are really three ways of thinking about the Achilles. There's just sort of overuse, whereby it's not quite being allowed to repair after minor trauma. So it's so-called tendinopathy. That sort of swells, aches a bit, and you can just rest it, not do much, and it can go quiet. So tendinopathy, simple overuse.
How many weeks would you rest that?
So, let's say 4 to 6 weeks. Okay,
right.
Okay, as a rest.
Which is about how long it's been out, at least, yeah.
Remember, Achilles is the most important tendon in the body when it comes to movement.
In the body?
Yeah, because it connects the entire leg to the ankle. Okay, that's movement. Okay, there's nothing like it. Think of how it's the thickest, biggest ligament in the body by far, and it just attaches that little bit of muscle down to that tiny bit of ankle. So a lot goes through there, and there's no other ones you can use. There's no left one or right one. There's just one Achilles. There's no medial one or lateral one, anterior. No, there's just the Achilles. So it's all going through that one tendon, and a lot of force goes through it. So we said before, it's a key part of anyone's fitness. Tendinopathy is the early overuse stage. Partial tear, whereby it's partly ripped. There's a particular zone where the Achilles tendon meets the muscle. Just above that, there's a weak zone, not much blood supply. A partial tear there, a bit longer, 8-12 weeks for that to heal. And then the biggest one, of course, like I think the paper from Liverpool had this week, I think.
Yeah, TK, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Where the whole thing cleaves, okay, from one end to the other, it completely goes. Complete rupture, needs surgery, and obviously many months out for that one to rehabilitate. So if it's an umming and ahhing, it would sound like more than it being a partial tear, because he'd be out for the season, no umming and ahhing. It must be a bit of an overuse thing. And kid gloves, is it better today? Is it not better today? And try to rehab him through it gently.
Yeah, well, that probably explains why his form's been a bit iffy this season. If he's been that's been playing him up, because, like you said, it's a vital, tendon in your body. So, yeah. All right. Well, listen. We started off the show and we said that, talking about prostate cancer. Tell us what prostate cancer is. I mean, as I said, I do a lot of work with Prostate Cancer UK, the charity. It's a big thing at football at the moment that is being spoken about. Men, go and check yourself. That message is being put out all the time. So I'd like you to tell us, first of all, what prostate cancer is, where it is, why it is so, such a dangerous cancer, and what can we do to negate it, to stop it?
Yeah. Well, we know it's the most common cancer in men. Approaching the most common cancer in the country now. So the prostate is like a walnut-sized gland that sits just below the bladder. And it makes basically a sugary fluid that makes up about 50% of semen, okay? So it's designed to protect sperm and let sperm live longer so it can fertilize an egg. Now, all men have one, okay? That's a given. Women don't have one, okay? Makes sense. It is promoted, it is kept going by testosterone, which we make our whole lives. So it's a gland that responds to a hormone that we make our whole lives. So because it's always in use, always being excited by testosterone and always replicating itself, it's more prone to develop cancerous issues because there's a lot of activity in it, a lot of cell turnover. Cancer, in the most simple terms, is when cells that should divide normally to make new cells go AWOL and suddenly make too many cells too quickly. So instead of there being a nice diffuse prostate, zones appear of excessive cell growth that's badly organized, poorly perfused, and basically burn through tons of sugar. And then that can eventually break off and go somewhere else via the bloodstream to somewhere else in the body where it will then do damage. So no one dies of prostate cancer. They die of the prostate cancer spreading elsewhere via the bloodstream. Because you have cancer, and most men, a vast number of men will die with prostate cancer, never knowing that they had it, and it will not have caused their death. So intrinsically, it's not dangerous, just prostate cancer. Many prostate cancers are not dangerous. They will live in the prostate forever, never go anywhere. But there are certain more aggressive types, because cancer is a very broad spectrum of illnesses, and some cancers are worse than others. And that can depend on your genetic background, your racial background, exposures to pollutants. Lots of reasons can promote a more aggressive form of it. Now, one of the issues is that there aren't really any symptoms of prostate cancer. You can develop the cancer in the prostate and have no idea it's there for many, many years, until maybe it's too late. You present with back pain, which means it's spread to the bones of your back, which clearly is way too late. So are there ways we can check the prostate's health throughout your life over the age of 40 to see if there's a guide from some test to see if the prostate is struggling And there are some ways of doing that. So the key takeaway there is prostate cancer is very, very common. It is by no means a fatal illness, okay? In fact, it is vastly treatable illness. If you can find it, when it's just in the prostate, everyone survives, okay? Everybody, okay? It's when it goes beyond the prostate that issues happen.
Hence why the message of testing
Yeah.
is so big, especially in older men.
Yeah, and that's a big issue with men when it comes to consulting medical advice or testing, is you fear that if the test comes back and it's positive, and we'll talk about the test in more detail, that's it, I'm dead, you know, or I'm going to lose everything, I'm going to lose my testicles, become infertile, everything's going to go wrong. We've got to change our way of thinking, okay? 100% of people will live from prostate cancer if we find it early. So it makes great sense to find it early because it can be detected early. Okay?
Yeah.
It's actually quite hard to miss if you screen for it properly.
Right. The test, right, which has been, I think, with a lot of men, when they hear about the test, they're like, oh, hey, listen. And for men who know about the test, or the most common test that people talk about, because there are more than one test, is that
Finger at the bum.
finger up the bum. Yeah, you have to
that's
say
right,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And it's it was.
And there's a lot of people who don't. You know what I mean? As soon as they hear that, they're like, oh.
No, it's highly intrusive, and in fact, done far less. Okay, so I said to you before, I remember doing 50 or 60 finger up the bums in a morning back in the day. You know, when it was the way you would check for these things.
Yeah.
The problem with that test, and we don't really utilize that much anymore, is you can get some useful information from it. The problem is that if I did it on somebody and said, oh, that feels a bit bumpy, and then someone else came and did it, they might feel that was more bumpy or less bumpy, you know, because it's down to basically how sensitive your finger is or how many you've done. That's not a good way to screen people. A blood test can't be argued with. It's the same for you, me, looking at the number. If it's 4.4, I see 4.4, you see 4.4. Doesn't matter who looks at it, the blood test is very consistent. So really we've gone away from rectal examinations as being the way to do it, and we go straight for the blood test. Not crazy expensive, by no means perfect as a test, and we'll explain why. But really, if we're saying how can we avoid prostate cancer, we don't need men lining up with their trousers down, bent over, for me to merely pop along the line. We just need to get a bit of blood off them.
And, you know, if you're a man, when do you test it? What are the signs that you can spot where you may think, this ain't quite right, should I do a test? But,
Yeah.
you know, or is there things linked to your age and, you know, who should get tested?
Yeah. Prostate cancer below 40 is very rare. So really we're talking about 40 plus, late 30s plus, okay? That might be the first time that you decide to get a blood test done. As much to find out what your baseline is. What is my baseline? Because I say, if when you were 20, your PSA level might have been, say, 1. But just because you're now older, it'll be 3, because the prostate has got a bit bigger, a bit more dense. Now, let's explain what the blood test is, okay? So it's PSA, prostate specific antigen. It's a marker, an enzyme in the blood. Now, the prostate makes it all the time. It's actually what makes semen go thin. It needs to go thin. It can be thick to start with, then it needs to go thin inside the female tract, so the sperm can go further. So it's an enzyme. And there's always a bit of it, a bit of PSA in the blood, always. So we know then that if the PSA goes up, it means the prostate, for some reason, is bubbling. It's overactive. So that's how we know it. So the key really is to get a test done to know what your baseline is, which you can then compare to it 2 years, 4 years, 6 years later. Now, I say as you get older, you get a higher level. So we have to counter that. But really, if we know your starting point, we can then see the trend, the velocity of change, and that is the key. So it's a very simple blood test, just a little draw from the arm. We send out special kits to people whereby you just stick it on your arm. It's really clever, a little vacuum thing, goes on the arm, draws the blood out of your shoulder muscle, completely painless, send it off to a lab, and that will give us a result. So therefore we find your level. Now, more than one thing makes the PSA level go up. Okay, it's not a cancer test. It's more like a smoke alarm. Okay, there's something going on. What might it be? And more than one thing can raise the PSA. I said before, it can be cancer, but more commonly, it's just the prostate getting bigger, or a heavy cycle ride, a bit of trauma, or an infection. So more than one thing can make it raise. So just because you do the test, and if it does come back elevated for your age, that does not mean you have cancer. It just means we should check that to see what it might be.
And like you said, early detection can...
If they found it was high, and they thought for your age it was high, they might just wait and check it again in 3 months and see if it's going up. If that was the case, they'd send you for an MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, a specialized 3D picture of the prostate, to see if they can see some areas which look way too dense compared to others. It should be nice and even. There's sort of areas of white, so you go, okay, that's clearly not right. And then they might do a biopsy, take a bit of it, and then see what that showed. But generally, this is the absolute key. So we say, when would you do a test? I'd say if you were 40 and you haven't done a test before, consider doing one to get a baseline. If you're 40 and you are of African Caribbean origin, I would definitely do a test around about 40.
Because they say with African Caribbean origin, it's 1 in 4.
It's really interesting. Now you may ask, why is that?
Well, why?
What are you guys doing?
What we done?
Your prostate. I mean, some cancers are more common in certain racial groups. So for non-African people, testicular cancer is much more common. It's much more rare in you. Okay, for Afro-Caribbean, the prostate. It's just to do with the way that testosterone activates the gland, and in certain gene pools, it's slightly different. But yeah, so 1 in 8 is my risk, 1 in 4 for you. And also 1 in 4, but also it tends to be a more aggressive type. Okay, because you're more prone to get it, you're also more prone to get the more aggressive type of the disease, because it isn't just one type of cancer. They grow at different rates, different aggressiveness. So there is even special gene tests. I'm going to do one on you in a few weeks' time as well. Something called
Is it?
Something called not the finger one. Okay. Oh. We could do it live on. A lot
of people out there like that. Like to see me in that pain like that. You know what I mean?
Imagine the figures.
But yeah, no. Seriously, like, what can you do to avoid? Yeah. Is there certain foods that are good to eat, and what or is there certain foods that you should avoid, and that when you're and certain practices
yeah there's no way to absolutely avoid it, because we've all got the prostate, we've all got testosterone, and we've all got a certain genetic predisposition, so there's a chance it's just going to happen. What can increase the chance of that happening beyond your risk tends to be things we probably know about. We're being way too heavy, certainly being way too heavy is something to avoid. And processed food. I hate to say it, I always pause because everyone wants to throw their takeaways at the TV screen. But think about how much processed food you eat, because it does have an effect. There are carcinogens in there that can increase the prospects of it. So those two things, I would say, is keep your weight as stable as you can, not too much processed food. Things that maybe reduce the chance, flaxseed as a supplement is quite good. It has a way of blocking some of the testosterone effect on the prostate. Blueberries are very, very good, because blueberries are a very hardy type of fruit, and there are certain antioxidants in it that means it's quite useful for that. So generally, something I do is to eat blueberries and flaxseed with food most days. It's a useful thing to do, but you can't do that and think you'll never get it. Okay, I still have to do the tests just the same as you or anybody else. So there's no way to say, I do these things, I can't get it. You could never, ever be sure of that. You must do the test. Okay,
if someone's interested in the test, you said that it's like you could send off for a test, you said.
Yeah, I mean...
How would they go about that?
Well, what's interesting is in this country, there's no screening program. So ladies of a certain age get called in for a mammogram for breast cancer.
Yeah.
But guys, there's no such system. Okay.
Do you think that needs to change?
I certainly do. Okay. The NHS looked at it and thought, no, we'll get too many false positive readings, and too many men will have treatment, because the treatment for prostate cancer can be invasive. It can involve impotence afterwards and erectile problems. So we don't want to treat, they're concerned that if we treat everybody for every cancer, we might wind up over-treating it. Things that didn't need to be treated, but of course significant problems for the patient. So I understand that. But individually, if anybody over 40 can go to their GP and say, I'd like a PSA test, please, and they will do it. Okay, they won't ask a question. They'll say, okay, you are allowed to ask for it. And I would say once every 2 years, go and ask for that test. Okay? That's why we're doing it with the GP. If you don't do that, you can contact us. You know, you can contact. We'll put a little click there to contact us, and we would then have a kit sent out to you, and it's very smooth. You just simply click it on your arm, click it on this arm. The vacuum pulls the blood out of your muscle, completely painless, into a little jar. You send it off, and then we'll contact you with the result and discuss that if you need to. It's about £99 for that sort of test, so it's not buttons. Okay, when you can get it free from your GP. But if you want to contact us and do that with our clinic, we can absolutely do that for you. It's very, very straightforward.
Okay, well,
the key is
that's the option.
You don't panic if it's high. Okay, we just discuss it. Okay, we just discuss the level. It will be the next test that's important. Does it stay the same or does it rise? And that's when you start to get into the idea of what you do to treat these things. Yeah.
Well, listen, I think that's great what you've said today, you know what I mean? Because there are so many things that are said around the testing and, you know, and people, you know, with a lot of these things, it's where people don't understand, you know. But certainly that message is out there, as I said, like when you go into every football club, everybody's pushing that message right now. Yeah. Get tested, test yourself.
This is the key. So
you've explained.
We've done your test, okay? Because I know that was on your mind, and I would do it routinely for someone that way anyway. You know, you will not die of prostate cancer. Okay, as long as we are friends, chatting, checking, there is no way you die of prostate cancer. Because
just because you're tested and
because we'll always find
catch it early.
The second we see it rising, we check more, we'll find it at the earliest possible stage. It will not be an issue for you. So that's the way I can be that confident about it. Okay, so again, no one has the access that we have that way, but you can start the data collection yourself, just doing a test every couple of years from the age of 40 onwards. If you do that, you really are not going to die of prostate cancer.
Okay, well, you've heard the message. Go to your GP and ask for that test, or you can send off for one of the tests from Dr. Andre. But I think this has been really, really good. Really enjoyed this. Could you come back, right, when we do another, you know, discussion on injuries? And I know we talk a lot about that. Maybe we do another subject that's
totally
affecting men in particular. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I got a bunch of things I'd love to chat about. People can make it in the comments.
Yeah, you know what? In the comments, let us know. What is there a subject that you would like the doctor to discuss? Yeah,
for me, I'd definitely do things like cholesterol, heart disease, weight control, testosterone. These are very, very male-dominated areas.
Yeah, I think weight control is going to be a big one. I get asked about it all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. But then we can do female issues, of course, are very important too. So we don't want to exclude those as well to all of our female fans as well.
Of course.
Really, anything medical. I've been doing this for 30 years. Nothing we can't talk about in detail and really make it simplistic, easy to understand, and just to keep the viewers, all the AFTV viewers, even those who come to just sort of. AFTV fans.
Even the haters, we're trying to keep you healthy.
Even the haters,
we're trying to keep you healthy.
We can keep them all.
Even those who come here wanted Arsenal not to win the title, we still want you to live a long life and a good life, and that is real from my heart. Right?
It's very true, because I know it's important to you, the people that love the show for the football content, but we can make a difference here, because people just. And if you found this useful, send it to a friend from another club, and have them watch it as well. Because the more we know these things, and I'll try and make, if it was too complicated, let me know. Make it even simpler. It's as simple as possible. The more reach it gets, the better. And yes, any suggestions for other things we could do, just let us know.
And Mikel Arteta, just tell us about the players. You know what's happening. Just tell us, right? But listen, thank you very much, Dr. Andre, as always. Thanks to you guys for tuning in. And let us know what subject you'd like him to talk about next. Because honestly, his knowledge on this is second to none. So let's keep asking him serious questions, and we can all be healthier. Thanks very much, Dr. Andre.
You're welcome.
And thanks to you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andre from Oxford Natural. If you're looking to make a change, improve metabolism, energy, sleep, take Optimum Day and Optimum Night.
These have helped me so much in my weight loss journey. The Optimum Day helps you with your metabolism burn during the day, and the Optimum Night helps you to have a good night's sleep. These have been brilliant for me. And if you're interested,
Take our 90-day challenge.
click the link in the description and you can get 70% off with your first order.